Hey guys, your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, I have some bonus content for you guys. The bonus content will be coming today will be in the sport of basketball inside the NBA world. In today's bonus segment, I'll be sharing my top 5 teams currently in the NBA today. So I'll be ranking them from 1 all the way down to number 5. So on number 1, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers are the best team in the NBA, and I think they punched their ticket to being the best team currently in the NBA by winning arguably the game of the year the other night against OKC. I like the growth that I'm seeing from Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and Jared Allen out there. They're setting the foundation in the core in Cleveland. 2 is OKC. I like what they've been doing. They've been the best team in the Western Conference this year. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is putting up MVP level numbers without Chet Holmgren right now. I think they've been the best team in the Western Conference. 3, you have to put the reigning defending NBA champions in the Boston Celtics. On a nightly basis, they most of the time steamroll teams. Their core of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Derek White, and Porzingis, when he's available and healthy to play, they're just too much to handle most of the time for NBA teams on a nightly basis. 4 is the New York Knicks. They find themselves on a cold streak, losing 4 out of 5 games. But for the majority of the season, they have been the team that's going to look like they're going to give Boston a run for its money in the Eastern Conference. And 5, I have the Houston Rockets. I have been really proud of the growth that I've seen from this young, talented team out in Houston. Jalen Green has been leading the way for the Houston Rockets to be one of the best teams in the Western Conference this NBA season. But those are my top 5 NBA teams. Now let's go to a deeper dive of the reasons why I do believe these teams are the top 5 teams currently in the NBA today. So, with the Cleveland Cavaliers, like I just said, the Cleveland Cavaliers have been the best team in the East. They're 33-4 on top of the Eastern Conference. Their victory against OKC the other night, snapping their 15-game winning streak, just to me marks them as the best team in the NBA. Record-wise, how they're playing, how they have not left their foot off the gas pedal at the January point of the NBA season. I just got to say they're the best team in the NBA. And a few years ago on this podcast, if you guys have been following this podcast, over the years since the Cleveland Cavaliers have put pieces to pieces together, I've said they are the best kept secret in the Eastern Conference. You fast forward a few years later, and they are the best team in the Eastern Conference. They have slowly put the pieces together to be a contending team once again since the post-LeBron James days, the Kyrie Irving days, the Kevin Love days, where the Cleveland Cavaliers won their first NBA title in the late 2010s. But this team, I just see championship DNA written all over it. Now, I don't know how consistent they're going to be. I mean, 33-4 is a lot to ask for already at this midway point of the NBA season. I don't know how consistent they're going to be in the win-loss column if they could keep this run up. But I think they're going to be a contending team out in the Eastern Conference with the core of Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. They played well. The front court of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, they've been very dominant this year. I got to say I like everything that I'm seeing from the Cleveland Cavaliers this year. Now, again, OKC, as I record this, they did blow out the Knicks tonight, so they have 31 victories and 6 losses to the resume in the win-loss column. Even without Chet Holmgren, the Thunder have been very dominant this NBA season, and the most dominant team out in the Western Conference. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has given you everything that you want on a nightly basis. He's been flirting with the idea of winning the MVP award the last couple seasons. Was top 3 in the race with Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic last year. This year, he's averaging 31 points per game. You're seeing him develop as a scorer. He's there as a teammate. He's not afraid to share the ball. I think he averages 5 to 6 assists per game. But the difference maker for this OKC team has been Hartenstein. Hartenstein has been a big difference maker for OKC this year. I mean, he is the big that they have while Chet Holmgren is not on the court. And when Chet Holmgren gets back, he's going to be back, I think, in the next couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, or maybe even longer. But when Chet Holmgren gets back, you can run bigs in the lineup with Hartenstein and Holmgren and a front court duo. And that could take apart the Western Conference that lacks size right now. Warriors don't have a big. I mean, the Lakers got Anthony Davis, but what other star power as a big do you really have? The Mavericks have no interior defense right now. I think this is barbecue chicken. If they could get on a roll and play defensive basketball well, that front court duo of Hartenstein and Holmgren could possibly give teams nightmares and give them a lot of fits by scoring in the paint once they get going. But I like everything that I've seen from OKC. 3, the Boston Celtics, the reigning defending champions, find themselves with 27 victories, 10 losses. When you retain your core, bringing back 13 out of 15 players that just won an NBA title for you, obviously you're going to pick up right where you left off. The chemistry was built last year, winning a title, and now they just look more dominant than ever. I mean, they could beat you in so many ways. I mean, they're a good team scoring-wise and a good team defensively. So it's like pick your poison when you're playing against the Boston Celtics. I mean, they got so many ways they can beat you. Jason Tatum has really stepped up to the plate this year. Jaylen Brown, Porzingis when he's available, Derek White, Drew Holiday. There's just so many ways that this team, Boston Celtics team, can beat you down, wear you down, dissect you down on a nightly basis. I just got to say they've been a dominant team. Now, the Knicks, they are on a cold streak here, and they have lost their last 4 out of 5 games. And they're in the conversation for being a top-tier team in the East with the Celtics and the Cavaliers, yes. But overall, I think they could end up being the biggest threat to the Boston Celtics some playoff time. Like I said, I don't know how. I think the Cavs have championship DNA. They are contenders. But when you're talking about the playoffs, this Knicks team, roster-wise, trading for a player like Karl-Anthony Towns, they could be the true biggest threat to the Celtics when the dance arrives come April, come springtime. So, again, they are cold right now, but I still believe they're a top 5 team in the NBA. And last but not least, the Houston Rockets, they have a record of 25 victories, 12 losses. Ime Udoka is the reason why NBA coaching is important. Yes, we know the fingerprints that he had on the Boston Celtics for them being a championship DNA team out in the Eastern Conference. We know the history why he's not there anymore. But when he took over for this Houston Rockets team, it's starting to pay off because he had a big responsibility coaching of a lot of young, talented players out there in Houston. And they're starting to finally put it together. They got Jabari Parker. Jalen Green, who is growing as a player, has really stepped up to the plate for this Houston Rockets team. The way how they're already a top 5 team to me in the NBA and a top 3 team overall in the Western Conference shows the growth. And they're actually one of the biggest surprises thus far this NBA season, based off of how quickly this rebuild has paid off for the Houston Rockets. And I mean, they're not going to get their hands on Jimmy Butler, but I think they're just one star player away from really being a championship contending team. We're going to see what they do come playoff time, or if they fade away and go down in the Western Conference standings. But for now, I got to say they're a top 5 team. But those are my top 5 teams currently in the NBA today. That is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off. And I'll see you guys on next week's episode.